Hello and welcome back to the channel, everyone. Right, this is going to be a video on basically comparing the PS5 and the Xbox Series X. It's not going to be the other, it's going to be the main console. So yeah, PS5 not digital and the Xbox Series X not the slim. We're just going to go for the highest end versions of the consoles, and we're going to compare I'm going to go through and compare the power, the BC, the cost, the software services, the peripherals, and the exclusives. Basically, so you just get an idea on what consoles both they offer. I'm not going to go into all the other minor little things like the SSD or the VRS on the Xbox Series X, because I'm not going to go into the little things that we cannot prove. This is a video really just to show you face value what both consoles have to offer and what gamers really look for. Because you do look at cost when you look at console. You do look at backwards compatibility, power, software, peripherals, exclusives. These are really the main things you look for when you're going to buy a console or going to buy anything. You're not going to go, what's the VRS like? What's the SSD like? You don't look for those things. So I'm just going to hit those things so you get an idea, a proper comparison of the two consoles before you buy them. Because ideally, you want to make the right choice. So this is going to just be a video covering that. So let me get into it, and I'm going to start with power. So let's get the ball rolling with power. So PS5, Xbox Series X. Let's first look at the PS5. CPU, 8x Zen, 2 cores at 3.5 gigahertz. We've got the CPU. Xbox Series X is CPU. Basically, the CPU on the Xbox Series X is clearly better. So that's pretty much the go. So the CPU on the Xbox is better. The GPU, PS5 is 10 teraflops. But that is overclocked. A lot of people are saying it's not. That's the standard. It's not actually the standard. It's 9 something at standard, and it's overclocked at 10 teraflops, which does create, as it says there, variable frequency. The variable frequency is the overclocking, which should be sustainable by its cooling system, but we have no idea what its cooling system is going to be like or anything. So 10 teraflops overclocked, 36 CUs. Whereas on the Xbox Series X is 12 teraflops locked with 52 CPUs. So the GPU on the Xbox Series X is more powerful. So far the CPU and the GPU on Xbox Series X is more powerful. Memory, we're going to memory, they're more or less the same. The Xbox Series X does have a bigger buffer bus. Memory bandwidth, they're more or less, they're not too dissimilar, more or less the same. Nothing really to go into there. There's slight differences. The internal storage. Now, the internal storage, this is where the PS5 sort of takes the lead. It's got a more powerful SSD. However, the internal storage capability, the Xbox Series X does have a larger storage. It has a 1 terabyte compared to the 825 gigabytes on the PS5. Now, this will be an issue going into next gen, because it's already said the Spider-Man Miles Morales game, which is only a 7-hour DLC, will take up 15% of that storage on the PS5. So you figure if that's taking up 15% of it, you know, you're not going to get that many more games on that hard drive before you have to get an external drive. Going into next gen, some of these games are going to be massive. So, especially as the PS5 boasts, it's going to have much bigger worlds due to its SSD. That storage is not going to last you, so you're going to have to buy an external storage for your PS5. Xbox Series S, 1 terabyte, not that much bigger, but it is bigger. So it's going to probably allow an extra 1 or 2 games on it more than the PS5 before you go to external. So you're not 100% reliable on external drive at launch, as you are with a PS5, I'd imagine. So you've got the throughput there. The PS5 does take a lead on that. But it's compressed with custom hardware depression block on the Xbox Series X. Expandable storage, 1 terabyte once again on the Xbox Series X, which matches external storage exactly. We've got, that's sort of already gone sort of into that. External storage, here we go. So the external storage recently come out for the Xbox Series X will be priced at $200, but I think that's their custom SSD storage, and these will drop in price. And you can get, with the Xbox Series X, you can get different external hard drives for it. Whereas on the, I've looked into this, on the PS5, you have to buy their custom one to work with the SSD. And there's seems to be nothing about that at the moment. And what I've read is that they're not going to be available at launch. So some more on that as that comes in. But as it stands at the moment, Xbox Series X does have a lead on its external storage options. For optical drive, 4K, they both have 4K Blu-ray basically. If you still care about Blu-ray and all that crap on your console, they're both matching each other on that. So overall, the Xbox Series X is more powerful. It has 12 teraflops, it has high GPU, it has high CPU, it has more CUs. It is generally more powerful. This will lead to, and it has locked frame rates and resolutions. So it will lead, especially on multi-plat games, in resolution and frame rates with more stable frame rates. The PS5, its main offering is because it's SSD, it will have faster load times. So if faster load times is your thing, if you're really, really fed up with waiting because the Xbox Series X does have SSD as well, so its load times are going to be 5 to 10 seconds slower than the PS5. So if you don't want to wait an extra 5 seconds, buy PS5 if you don't care for resolution and frame rates and you only care about load times, then by all means, as consoles go, as ability goes, then go for the PS5. But if frame rates and resolution is your leading point, especially resolution, especially if you're an FPS player like myself, then you want to go with the Xbox Series X for the frame rates, let's be honest. So there we go, that's the power. Let's move on to backwards compatibility. So I'll start the ball rolling with the PS5. PS5 will be 99% backward compatible with PS4 games. That's according to CEO Jim Ryan. I take what Jim Ryan says with a pinch of salt because he keeps lying. Let's be honest, he keeps lying recently. So he said that 99% of the PS4 games will be compatible on the PS5. There are some other restrictions on this, though. They won't all get a boost mode, and I've also read that only select titles will get a boost mode, which I think there's only about 100 PS4 games will get a boosted mode, which means they will be brought up to the next generation. So they will be better resolution and better frame rates. The rest won't. The only letdown for the PS5 for backwards compatibility is you cannot play PS1, 2 or 3 games on the PS5. You're going to have to rely on the remasters, more remasters, which if anything to go, if Demon Souls go by, Sony are charging £70 for these remasters. So if you want to play old games remastered, £70 is what it's going to cost you on the PS5. Other than that, you can only play a select few PS4 games that are boosted on the PS5, which we're yet to see, as it says here, exact list. They're not being overly clear, I'll be honest with you, what's happening here, to be honest. Previously, their backwards compatibility have also been locked behind a paywall on PS Plus, so will that could possibly still be the same. So we'll have to wait to find out if that's the case, if backwards compatibility will be on PS Plus if you want to play old PS4 games. So we'll have to find out about that. So that's the backwards compatibility basically for the PS5. Unfortunately, in addition to the PS5 not having PS1, 2 or 3 capability, backwards compatibility, it does have PS4, but for not all games. In addition, as it's just come out now, the PS4 saves may not work on the PS5. So, as it states here, will PS4 saves work on upgraded PS5 games? In theory, in formally question, and the best answer we can glean so far is sometimes. Man-Eater won't support save transfers. Yakuza Like a Dragon won't either. Spider-Man Miles Morales will, but the core Spider-Man game won't. So, if you're looking to play Spider-Man on the PS5 and carry your saves over with all your content you've unlocked, you won't be able to. So you'll have to restart the whole entire game on PS5, and I think that could be a big issue for people, especially the massive games where people have built up lots of content and stuff like that. A different story, a more positive story on the Xbox Series X, however. Backwards compatible with thousands of games. Yes, get ready for faster load times, high resolution, more stable frame rates, and better input latency on thousands of Xbox One, 360, and original Xbox games. So what they're doing here, they've got a thing called smart delivery. So all games, all backwards compatible games, Firstly, the Xbox Series X will be backwards compatible with all its generations of games, so Xbox One, 360, and the original Xbox. So you can play those games on your Xbox Series X. And the majority of them will have smart delivery, it'll be optimized for the Xbox Series X, I should say. So this means that they will have boosted frame rates and resolutions. They will automatically be upgraded. For example, Gears 5 on the Xbox Series X as opposed to Xbox X. On the Xbox Series X, Gears 5 on it is running at 120 FPS 4K. So you're going to be playing 4K native 120 FPS on Gears 5 on your Xbox Series X, and that is free. You're not paying any extra. And if you can look at, you can Google this if you want. I can't be bothered to get it up. It will. So basically, Gears 5 on the Xbox Series X will actually be playing PC version at ultra settings. So if you've got to put a high-end PC and you played Gears 5 at ultra settings, the highest possible settings, that's how it will now run on the Xbox Series X. So it's basically the best PC equivalent. And that's what it was going to do for many of its games. It's going to absolutely crank up the scale of these games for free. Yep, so you won't have to pay for a remastered version, which is going to cost £70. You're going to get these games, these upgrades, for free. So look forward to more games, more bigger backwards compatible list, and with boosted load times and resolutions. So I think that's an excellent win there for Xbox Series X there. Okay, cost. Right, cost of the PS5 and Xbox Series X price. How much will they cost? So let's look at this. Basically, we're going to have a look. The PS5 release date has been set for November 12th, and the Xbox is releasing on November 10th. So the Xbox does release 2 days earlier. Both consoles ain't releasing worldwide, as it says there, on day 1. So in the UK, you'll get yours November 19th, and on the PS5, I think it's in US, Japan, Canada, Mexico, Australia, New Zealand, and South Africa, and the US. But let's get on to the costs. The PS5 proper, as they're calling it, will cost £449 quid, or $500. While the digital edition, which is basically the PS5 but without 100 or 359 if you're in the UK, or if you're in the UK. So how does that compare to the PS5's biggest rival, the Xbox? So the Xbox will be sold, the standard will be sold at 500, so it will match the PS5. Will be sold at 500 or 449 in the UK. So it's basically the same as the PS5. However, the Xbox Series S, which is a slightly weaker version of the Xbox Series S, it's these names. They need to make it easier. Xbox Series S, Xbox Series X, it will be cheaper than that, but it is a weaker version, and it's a weaker version than the PS5 digital. But however, it will be priced at $300 or 250 quid. So £250 for a next generation, even though it is weaker, is a good deal. And if you look up the Xbox Series Slim, it will be running games. It's prioritising frame rates. So where its resolutions won't be great, so it might only hit 1400p. Its frame rates, yes, on games. So if you're looking for a quick console to play things like COD and stuff like that on, Call of Duty and FPSs, this would be a console to buy for just 250 quid. You can jump in the next generation for just 250 quid. That's an excellent bargain right there. So, but price-wise, for the main consoles, they're both going for £500 basically. So you can't go wrong. So services on the PS4/5, you've got PlayStation Now. Now PlayStation Now is a gaming service where it has lots of games. Basically, PS Now is the PS's version of backwards compatibility. They cannot give backwards compatibility for free, so they lock a lot of the games behind PS Now. It costs £20 a month for unlimited streaming. The games do stream; they're not all downloadable and all, so you have to stream them all. And I think a lot of them do stream at 720p 30 FPS, so that's not ideal. Though you can access this on PC, so any games in PS Now you can play on your PC. this is quite old, it's 2017, but the list is continuously updating. There are thousands of games on there, but remember it does, please go away, it does include backwards compatibility in this selection of games. So I would say probably about 90% of the games, 95% of the games are BC games. The rest are PS4 games. PlayStation, Sony does not put their games day one into PS Now either. So if you're willing to shell out £20 a month to have a selection of BC games and play the older first-party titles on PlayStation 4, then it's probably worth a buy for you, especially if you haven't played all the games or you're looking to buy all the games. It's probably worth doing it. And I'd imagine on the PS5, when that comes out, the PS4 games, as I said before, will be put into here as well as the PlayStation 1, 2 and 3 games. It is sort of a backwards compatibility locked behind a paywall. It's a bit not great, it's not pro-consumer, but I don't think PlayStation's technology allows them to put their games or allow their games directly on the PS5, or it did on the PS4. That's what they say. Whether that's true or not, we don't know. So there are lots of games in there, but as I say, a lot of it is backwards compatibility games and older titles from third-party older titles. So as you can see here, you've got some other stuff in here. Red Dead Redemption 1 is in there, for example. So that's pretty much PS Now. Xbox, however, offers Game Pass. Now, Game Pass is it's a downloadable service. It's not a streaming. It's a download service that offers over 100 high-quality games, and they are high-quality games. So you've got Doom Eternal, you've got Vermintide. These are all just new games coming. You've got Destiny and all the expansions to that. You've got a whole host of games like Witcher 3, Red Dead 2, plus all Xbox games launch on Game Pass day one. So Halo Infinite, when it launches, it goes straight into Game Pass day one. When the next Forza arrives, day one. Gears Tactics or any Gears games, basically any first-party games. So at the moment, Microsoft have just bought Bethesda, and Starfield is likely going to be exclusive to Xbox. That will be in Game Pass day one, so you're not need to spend it, which is a massive bonus considering games now go up to £70. So paying £20 a month, or I believe it's £150 for the year, is a great asset. On top of that, if you buy Ultimate, you don't have to pay for your subs anymore. You don't have to pay for gold anymore. You also get EA access as well. So for I think it's about £150 for the year. I can't see the price here, but for £150 here, it's going to vary depending on where you are. You can get deals on these things as well, same as PS Now. But for £150 a year, you get EA access, you get your gold subs, plus you get Game Pass. That's for £150 now, so you can play all EA games for free. You get your gold subscription, your Xbox Live subscription, and Game Pass, with all first-party games. In the long run, this will save you massive amounts of money, because the games you don't spend on first-party and third-party, because a lot of the third-party, like Doom Eternal, go on here after about 6 months. The money you don't spend there, especially if the games are £70, you can then spend that money that you would have spent on these games on other games. So your games library will be bigger and benefit from this. So that's what Game Pass offers. Peripherals. Okay, Shane says light on PS5 peripheral compatibility. Right, so these are things like controllers and such. So Sony guarantees that on the peripherals outlined below, first-party options will definitely work, but not all PlayStation officially licensed or third-party peripherals accessories may work on the PS5. So you're pretty much restricted to only buying Sony peripherals to work on the PS5. You cannot go third-party, which is a bit shame. And even some of their licensed Sony stuff won't work on the PS5. In addition, as it states down here below, I believe, the situation gets a little muddy when considering the DualShock 4 controller. So the PS4 controller will only work on PS4 games on the PS5. So you cannot use your DualShock controller, PS4 controller for PS5 games. So you have to buy new controllers, I'm afraid, when you buy a PS5 to play the PS5 games. There are some benefits. The PlayStation camera will work with PlayStation 5 to support PSVR games. It requires an adapter to do so, though. Platinum Gold wireless headsets, and you can see there basically the other benefits But I think the take back from that is you have to be buy Sony items, which is a bit restrictive, and your PS4 controllers you have to buy PS5 controllers to play games next generation. So that's the peripheral stance on the PS5. Now looking at Xbox Series X, what peripherals are going to be capable of carrying over onto that? The official Xbox Twitter account responded to PS5 news with a tweet reaffirming that Xbox Series X is compatible with all Xbox One controllers across all games. So your controllers on the Xbox One will work on the Xbox Series X, so you won't have to buy any more controllers. This includes all official Xbox One and Xbox Elite controllers, the adaptive controller, and third-party controllers and headsets. So they're basically completely allowing you to use anything you want on the Xbox Series X, and anything you already own will work on the Xbox Series X. Not only that, but the Xbox Series X controller will also be compatible with Xbox One too. So if you buy an Xbox Series X but want to use if you buy an Xbox Series X but want to use Xbox X controller on your Xbox One, you can do that. So the next generation controllers will work on your last generation gear. So that's absolutely a massive win and massively pro-consumer there, because you won't have to buy any new peripherals going into next generation. You can carry it all over, and even better is that it works backwards onto your old tech, so you can use new tech stuff on your old tech. So that's the peripheral stance for Xbox. So let's finally move on to the elephant in the room, exclusives. Now a lot of people base their whole choice on exclusives, and that's up to them. They've made a big deal about exclusives, only buy consoles for exclusives, and exclusives is what drives them. So we'll cover this here. Obviously it's not the majority choice, because the majority of people buy consoles and play games for the multiplats, actually, 90% of people. But there are people out there that prefer exclusives and they only buy console based on its exclusives. So let's go into exclusives. Right, so every PS5 game confirmed. So these are, I couldn't find a definitive list, not a decent up-to-date definitive list of the PS5 games that are next-gen games. So as I've got here, let's go through this. So full exclusive titles, which is now wrong. Every PS5 game concerned. So Astro Playroom is actually a demo. It's not a real full game. It's just a tech demo that you get free, that will show you how to use their new controller basically. So it's not really a game. So I'm not sure why that's gone down as a full exclusive game. It is a demo, tech demo. You've got Gran Turismo 7. That's going to be PS5 exclusive. Now Horizon Forbidden West, as the sequel to Horizon Zero Dawn, is now on PS4, so it's not exclusive. The same goes for Spider-Man Miles Morales. That is now also on PS4, so that is not exclusive. Ratchet & Clank is exclusive because it takes advantage of the SSD. Returnal, look, there's no definition on that yet. If it is a definite PS5 exclusive or going to PS4. Sackboy, possibly will be on PS4 too. So we have unconfirmed exclusive titles, but I can tell you now they will likely be going to Xbox, because Xbox now bought Deathloop and Ghostwire Studios. So Xbox now own both them games. So they very likely will be going to Xbox. Further down now we're going into third party games. So we've got Bugsnax, Godfall, and these games are all third party. All of them are very likely to go to Xbox at some point, but they will launch exclusive to the PS5. And then in addition to this, now we've got announced Final Fantasy 16 as well. So that would also be PS5 exclusive. So as it goes, you've got Final Fantasy 16, which is PS5 exclusive. So that's 1. Gran Turismo 2. Ratchet & Clank 3. Possibly Returnal, Sackboy 4, 5. Those two games, 6, 7. And then we've got those. So they've got about 15, 20 games there, which will launch as it's, or not launch, shouldn't say launch, sorry, which will come to PS5 over the next coming years, over the next 1 or 2 years. There is also God of War, but God of War, it's got a 2021 launch title, a launch date. There's no confirmation if it will actually launch in 2021. It very unlikely will launch in 2021. Also, there's no confirmation if it will be on PS4, so that also may not be a PS5 next-gen exclusive. So, to just reiterate, first-party exclusives, PS5 next-gen games that are full exclusive, Gran Turismo, Ratchet & Clank, possibly Returnal, Sackboy, unsure about. So 3.5. There we go. That's the first party over the next 1 or 2 years. And for Xbox, I will, I'll show what they said basically on Twitter. Confirmed, Xbox is now the console with the most games confirmed to be next-gen only console exclusives. So Xbox has more next-gen exclusives than the PS5. So let's look into this. So as Dusk Falls, Avowed, Everwild, Fable, Forza Motorsport, The Gunk, The Medium, Fantasy Star Online 2, Genesis, Scorn, Sensual Sega, Stalker 2, State of Decay 3, Warhammer 40,000, Dark Tide. Or you can look up all these games on YouTube. The benefit of this is that it will also go into Game Pass day one, so you won't have to pay for any of these games, which is another massive bonus. In addition, this come out before they bought Bethesda. And the 7 new studios, which they have said they will make some of those games also exclusive, and Starfield is likely going to join this list as well as any upcoming Bethesda, ID. I can't remember the game, the other studio's name, but there's other studios that are very likely going to now become Xbox Series X exclusive. So as it stands, the Xbox Series X has more exclusives than the PS5. So if exclusives is your bag, exclusives is your deal, then you might want to pick yourself up an Xbox Series X. So let's have a absolute roundup of the whole thingy, shall we? So to conclude, so let's have a roundup. The Xbox Series X does lead on power. It has more power. PS5 does have an SSD advantage, but we're not sure how that's going to work for games or the longevity of it, what it's going to bring. And obviously, because some of the games are on PS4, those games will not take advantage of the SSD and have less PS5 exclusive games. So we're not sure how that SSD is going to pan out. But Xbox X on paper is more powerful. It has a better GPU, it has a better CPU, it has better CUs. It even has a bigger hard drive to store your games. So on paper, Xbox Series X is more powerful. Cost, they're equal in cost, so it's a draw on that. Backwards compatibility, clearly Xbox Series X leads on backwards compatibility because it offers compatibility for all games across all generations, and also smart delivery, or I should say optimized. So games are have improved resolutions and frame rates, almost like a remaster for Xbox Series X games. So if you're playing a 360 game, it will be boosted for the Xbox Series X, whereas the PS5 is not offering that for all their games, only select titles. And as you said, the saves don't carry over. And then you can't play PS1, 2 or 3 games on there. So very likely going to go down selling remasters route for £70, which is not too good. So I'm going to have to give that point to Xbox Series X. We've got, what else do we have? We have peripherals. Xbox Series X easily leads on peripherals because it's allowing not only all your old gear, controls and stuff to be compatible on the Xbox Series X, but also your new stuff to be compatible with your old Xbox. So, and it also allows third-party stuff and basically anything licensed to Xbox. Software services. Once again, software and services, Xbox leads on this because Game Pass is by far a better option than PS Now. PS Now is still streaming / downloads, whereas Xbox Series X is downloads. Also, there's a sharing game service, so if you buy a digital game or if you have Game Pass on your account, you can share that with friends. They also get all your Game Pass access and all your games for free. So you can both basically share Game Pass. So instead of say £150 a year, you could both split that and just both pay £75 a year, and then you both share the account. You can do that on Xbox. Not sure if you can do that on PS5. There's no news of that whatsoever. Also, the games you're getting all first-party games directly into Game Pass, as opposed to PS5 not offering that. You have to still buy the games, and it's better value. It has EA access as well. So you get EA games. You get your gold subs thrown in there as part of the cost as well. Whereas on PS5, you're going to have to pay for your PS Plus and PS Now if you want more access to games, which is then more money to spend. So Xbox Series X by far has better game services. Now let's finally end on exclusives. So as you can see, as it stands, next generation, the Xbox Series X has more next gen exclusives. So if exclusives is your bag, then you have to go with the Xbox Series X. But now, ultimately, what this all comes down to, because on paper, Xbox Series X leads on pretty much everything except cost, which they're a draw on. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. So the score is pretty much 6-0 to Xbox Series X because they've drawn on something. So that's how it stands at the moment. But all this is subjective, of course. It's all opinion and preference. That is the key to gaming. So rather than moan at people that they're getting something else and they have a different perspective or a different opinion on games, I mean, some people are going to say Xbox Series X has all more exclusives now. But some people are obviously going to come back and say, yeah, but I don't like those games. Well, I don't like the games on PS5. I don't want to buy a next generation console, for example, and play Sackboy. Everyone has an opinion and a preference for gaming, and that's what it comes down to: preference and opinions. So if you've got an opinion and you prefer something as opposed to something else, that's fine. You're allowed to have that opinion, that preference, and don't let anyone tell you otherwise. All this is I've not tried to shove anything down your throats. I'm not being some religious evangelist nut that's trying to say buy this, buy this, buy this. All I've done is broke down the comparisons and give you my opinion, or kind of not my opinion because I've shown you factually on screen which is leading, and then from that opinion or those factual statements, you can make up your mind what you prefer, because you still might prefer the PS5 because you like God of War, you like certain games on there. Even though they might still be on PS4, you might buy a PS5 because you might just want to play God of War on your PS5 anyway. So take that as you will. Please drop in the comments your preference and what you believe and what you think. Please sub and share, and goodbye for now.